Yeah, honestly, it's wild. Compared to the stress of year one, particularly around like billings and anxiety coming into year three with that kind of quarter, it's awesome. There is more to life than being in the boardroom for 40% of the week and engaging with meaningless meetings internally.
2 years ago, Jon Woolley walked away from a recruitment agency that he spent a decade building. He'd opened their US arm, he'd built a team of 8, and he'd scaled it to $1.6 million in billings. Then in 2024, 3 weeks before his third child was born, he left. He had no clients, he had a tight non-compete that he didn't want to break, he had no team to help him, and he had $30,000 in savings, which is about 10 months runway to survive. He had an idea of building an agency in a market that most people have never even heard of: industrial automation. In his first year as a solo founder, he built £112,000 and it took 3 months to do his first deal. In year 2, he did £500,000 and the momentum was starting to build. And then at the end of Q1 in 2026, working from the farmhouse he just renovated in rural Staffordshire, UK, with 3 children under the age of 7, he just built over $350,000 solo.
All of my new business came from inbound, and that was off LinkedIn content.
But I asked the question that I'd been thinking about the whole time. Be honest with me, like, what's the reality of being a British recruiter in America?
There was a lot of times where I was talking to pretty much everyone saying, you know me, can I do this? Yeah, John, you can. I'll keep going then. But it was...
This isn't a story about a large agency or team. It's about a guy who was already a very good biller and decided to bet on himself. He chose to be present in the role and at home over the prestige of offices and headcount and the rest of it. And now he's proving that a solo biller working just 25 hours a week from home can bill more than most recruitment teams. So this is the RAG Podcast with Jon Woolley, the founder of Candid Talent. Jon, welcome to the RAG Podcast.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Jon, it's actually been something we spoke about pretty quickly, didn't we? Like we only discussed this like a week ago, and I was like, I need to get you on the show. So I've done a quick introduction to you there, mate, but I can never do it justice, right? Do us a quick 30-second elevator pitch of what you do, who you are, and then I want to get into the story.
Cool. So been recruiting for 12 years now, controls automation in the US. I have been recruiting in America for the last 6 years. Leverage my sister. She lives in Charlotte, so use it as a base of operations. I'm there for a couple of months of the year. Outside of that, I have 3 kids, farmhouse I'm renovating, and started Candid Talent 2 years ago.
So you're the founder of a business where you and your wife run the business essentially, right?
Yep.
And 2 years in, so, you know, and we just talked off air, you've had the best quarter you've ever had ever, which is mega. So we're talking like over $350,000 in a quarter solo. I mean, I'm just trying to sit with how that would feel right now. We'll get into the story in a minute, but how does that feel when you sit here and you think, I've had the biggest quarter ever for myself while I'm at home, looking after 3 kids, working with my wife? Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, honestly, it's wild. Like, compared to the stress of year one, particularly around like billings and anxiety and things like that, coming into we're starting year 3 with that kind of quarter, it's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, mega. So let's get into the story. So you got into recruitment 12 years ago, but as you mentioned to me off air, that you had an entrepreneurial flair anyway. It wasn't the first job. You worked with your family. So tell us about your upbringing and how you knew you were entrepreneurial.
So my parents were always business people. Growing up, they were the kind that were taking me to Tony Robbins seminars when I was 12, walking on hot coals. When I was 18, I was flying to Fiji on my own to go to seminars and things like that. And I never went to uni. I never followed that path. For me, or the kind of route that I took was joining the family business, and that went really well so it was a mix of e-commerce and property development. So at one point, I think I was 20, maybe 21, I was managing 30 contractors, renovating an apartment building. I was supporting an e-commerce website, and ultimately, a few bad decisions, and parents lost the business, and so I had to start thinking about actually making a life on my own. And
what was it like
I went into
working
bars.
for your parents?
it was great and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like always under that wing, like going from Tony Robbins seminars about like the future being massive and then having a shadow that you're under. And yeah, as I say, I was kind of it was tough. They lost the business and went for a bit of a rough patch. I was working in bars and someone said like, you can talk to people. You're a nice guy. You're engaging. Why don't you try recruitment? And I literally never heard
Where
of
were
it.
you living at the time?
Parents' house. Yeah, living
Where's
with my
that?
parents.
Where'd you grow up?
Staffordshire.
Right. So again, it's not the most lively hub for recruitment, I imagine.
No, it was a small town bar. Like
Yeah.
it was locals and rugby clubs, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But
So to even get someone say you should do recruitment in that region is probably quite rare.
mhm.
You know, it's not your everyday conversation. People think recruitment in those. I mean, I'm only basing it on my own experience where I live in Sheffield, where I grew up in part of Manchester. People would think it's like high street recruitment. You know, Brook Street, go and get a temp job. That's what people think recruitment is in those parts of the world. So you joined Vantage, and
Yeah,
you were there for what 10 years.
yeah, just under 10. Yeah, never got the watch.
Never got the watch. Is that what you get there? If you say if you 10 years? So, what was your career like? Talk me through. I don't want to go into too much detail because that's not what this show's about. But what were you like as an actual recruiter? Like coming off the back of working with your parents and all this entrepreneurial self-improvement stuff you'd already been doing. How did you take to the job?
Yeah, I started really well. I had a great manager, great boss, and I went into contract controls and automation, West Midlands, supplying JLR and the likes. And I had the bit between my teeth. I had a point to prove. I remember the bosses said no to me originally, and I pushed back, and they took me on. They also hired my best friend at the time as well, and kind of pitted the two of us against each other, which was a great move. And yeah, had the bit between my teeth, rose quite quickly, started to develop teams and things like that. And then ultimately during COVID, I said to the bosses, like, I have two sisters in America at this point. I think we should be exploring that. And fair play, they gave me the reins to go and start that side of the business.
All right. So while you're employed, you were like, I would like to open up a US arm.
Yeah.
So talk us through that. What did you do?
I was well supported by the directors, but ultimately I could see there was money out there to be made. Like it was controls and automation. You can do it in Europe, you can do it in Asia, you can do it in the US. But I really wanted to go and explore like the higher fees, the higher salaries, and do a perm business as well rather than contracts, which is what I was doing. And
you wanted to
so
that's normally the other way around.
Yeah.
People want to go the other way around.
Yeah, but it was the fees and the opportunity. And like I was coming into having a young family at that time, so having the mornings as well and working later,
Right.
it all kind of aligned really well. And also COVID was just a weird landscape anyway.
So did the fact that the world had gone a bit remote and everything was digital, did that make you feel like the US became available to you, even though you're in the UK? Yeah. It's a bit like me. Oxo was not an international business going into COVID. Like I think we had one Irish client we'd work with. We flew over to Dublin to meet them. Fast forward, 3 months into COVID, and I'm invoicing people all over the world. And now I think well over 60% of our business is outside of the UK, US, Australia, Dubai, etc. So I completely understand that. That's a big thing, like to do for somebody else's business. So is it just a case of saying, look, I want to make more commission, or did you already have an eye on, I'll probably do this for myself at some point. I want to learn do the hard bit for somebody, like on someone else's cash.
I guess to a degree. Like I remember after 6 months saying to three of the guys that came through the academy with me, like, at some point I'm going to go out and do this on my own. Like, do you guys want to come and do it? And yeah, we all said yes, and ultimately it never happened. But I always knew that it was going to be a means to an end at some point. I remember there was a few periods of time. There was a few times where I spoke to the owners of the business and said, "Look, there's an LTIP in place, but ultimately, even if we do really well, I'm going to win 30 grand. That's not life changing money. I want equity." And it was never a conversation. There was always a ceiling of two directors above me, the owners above them, and I was never going to reach like the levels that I saw for myself. So yeah, taking on the expansion out to the US and kind of doing that on someone else's dime, for want of a better word, was part of my thought process. That, can I do it for someone else? If so, then I can do it for myself.
So what is industrial automation for people that are listening and going, they don't really know what it is you do?
So industrial automation is essentially placing the people that program the machines that make the stuff. So if you think about even a car wash. So a car wash is an automated process where you have the things that come down and move you forward. They're moved by PLCs. I place the people that program that machinery. And car wash is a really easy analogy, but that happens in drugs. It happens with toilet paper. It happens with anything that you can think of that we're moving away from. Yeah. And it's just making the world a lot more efficient. And it's the people that program that machinery.
Okay. And was it the same in the first instance in Stafford? The same people, same gig?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how similar was that transition to the US then, in terms of understanding the roles and the job titles and what they're trying to achieve from the recruitment?
Almost exactly the same. There's very little difference. Even there's the conversation about relationship versus transactional. Like, I've always pushed to do a really good job and had relationships off the back of it. I don't think that the US is more or less transactional than the UK in that respect. But the actual people that I'm placing are nigh on the same.
Yeah. And what was it like opening doors then? So what was your strategy to get in the door in 2020 when you opened it up over there?
Good CV in front of the right people, rinse and repeat. Like, it was quite easy. I found a market in life sciences, pharmaceuticals. There was huge demand. Found the right candidate, got them to 10 places, and I'd get interviews for them and kind of rinse and repeat.
And what were your billings like? Well, how did that dramatically change from UK to US? What was the impact?
Billings in the first year were circa 120k a quarter. They went fairly steady throughout. Actually, I took off really quickly in the US. The UK, it was contract, so it was different. But I'd say my colleagues' average fees were 7k at the time, to give a comparison.
And what were yours?
So in the US, I was doing about 120 a quarter, 22 a placement.
A placement. So you're talking about 3 to 4 times, like the return on the same investment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see how that went. And 2020, so we launched the business in 2024. So you've had 4 years then building this.
Mm-hmm.
What did you create working for somebody else before you start? Like, what did you leave them with? What was the empire that you were building for Vantage before you made the call to go on your own?
We had a team of 8 engineers, 8 consultants. We built up to 1.6 million. We were a very well established automation recruitment business on the US East Coast. And yeah, I think that I've left a pretty solid legacy there that they've continued to build on.
So why did you make the final? Obviously, I know you've always had it in your mind. I suppose not why did you, but what was the final straw, or what happened to make you go, right, now's the time?
It was more of a conversation of there was never going to be a good time, and I had my third child on the way, and I was like, there is more to life than being in the boardroom for 40% of the week and engaging with meaningless meetings internally. I wanted to go and actually just carry on doing the job and doing the job well and doing it properly, whilst for particularly the first 2 years, having a very young family, being present and just doing a good job for a select few clients for a couple of years whilst I could take a step back from that management.
Right. So 40% of your time was in managing people.
Oh, massive, yeah.
Yeah. If you look back on that, I know you're still small now, you're still solo, but what did that teach you about yourself as a leader?
I find it really difficult when people don't do it exactly the same way that you would or that you do, or they don't care as much. And that's something that I really want to take into Candid is I want to grow. Like the first 2 years were always about family and doing a good job, but not doing it at scale. And I never want to be an S3 or anything like that, but I see 6 to 10 people who care, who wants to make a difference in a market that I really believe in. But I want to do that with those people that demonstrate that. And yeah, at times it was tough being the one that cared the most, and I'm sure that'll always be the same in a business. But I want to work with people that actually want to make an impact.
I'm 9 years into running a business, and it's not exactly the same, but there's loads of similarities. And it's not common you find people that care at that level. Maybe they'll never care as much, but I found, I've got a really strong team around me now that I'd say, they do. Like the team care. The conversations we have at all hours of the night and the day, and you can just tell everyone's really engaged. We weren't always like that, and we've made so many mistakes, but I'm the same as you. Like it's often easier to do it yourself at a better quality, and it's faster. But the market, if you want to grow, you've got to step away from that a little bit, haven't you? You've got to be able to give away. So, talk us through. You're 3 weeks out from having your third kid. What did your wife say when you told her you were going to finally do it?
Fully backed it. It's a conversation we'd had for years. There was no question about it.
And you put money aside. Did you have enough? Like, what sort of run rate did you have for living costs before you started the business? $3,000 a month, circa. It feels like that's gone up significantly. Well, how much money did you have? Like, how much runway did you have before you build a penny that you could live on?
Oh, so we had 30K to one side. Like we had easy 10 months. The
best part of 10 to 12 months, right? So, yeah. So that's a good, sensible amount of time. And where did Candid come from? What's the name story there?
So that was from my Saucer reviews. And it was essentially looking at what have people said about me, the service, and what I do. And it was all about being open, honest, trustworthy, and Candid kind of came to the front.
Yeah, I'm going to be candid with you. All right, makes sense. I didn't know if it was a play on candidate, but no, it's more.
I mean, I'd love to say that. I tried.
I like it. So, if we talk us through then what year one was like. You've mentioned there was stress attached. But it's not that long ago. And the amount of people listening to this who are thinking, I might start a business in 2026 or 2027. Talk us through the mindset of what it was really like 2 years ago and paint the picture of day one.
Day one was like, wow, like we're in it now. I'm really fortunate. Like I set up through Edmund at Recruit Hub, and they were a huge help with not just like the back office stuff, but also the keeping me on the straight and narrow and like strategy and what do I do when my head's going, which does happen. But year one, so from February to February, builds £112,000, which was like significantly lower than I was used to. But it was a really good learning curve. I think it took
about 6-7 deals or something.
Yeah, it's about that. And I think the first placement I did took 3 months, and it was at 15%, and it was just like, it wasn't great business, but it was a step in the right direction. And kind of that was the snowball, and started building from there. Obviously, I had restrictive covenants that I was very clear I was never going to step outside of that. Like, I've got a lot of respect for my old business. So I had to start from scratch, and that was the tough bit. Like, going in every day, doing the UBD, thinking like, can I still do this? Like, I've helped others do this, but can I still do this? And ultimately, the wheels start turning. The train gets out of the station. You do your first deal. You've got a little bit of cash in the bank, and then it starts to snowball from there. But yeah, year one, though, there was a lot of times where I was like, I was talking to pretty much everyone, saying, like, you know me, can I do this? Yeah, John, you can. Right, I'll keep going then. But it was tough.
Did you doubt whether you'd made the right decision and whether you should go back into employment if you were?
I never thought I could. No, like, I doubted myself, absolutely. Never thought I could go back into employment.
No, I think I was the same. Once you're in entrepreneur living and you're that engaged in your business, like mentally, it'd be very. I think you might have to, like you say, what your parents went through. People go through it, so not discrediting anyone, but I think it'd be really hard to mentally go back.
Yeah.
So what was life like family-wise? So 112 grand doesn't sound massive, but it's still six figures in a year whilst working from home and being around a newborn and two other kids. So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, that was great. I was present, like, as much as you can be when there is that background stress, but I was able to. I mean, I spent every morning with my son till 1. Dropped the girls at school. I did pretty much every gymnastics practice on a Wednesday evening, and that was something that I knew I wouldn't have in agency. Like, that ability to be present. I was so used to being on call all the time, but also having to commute to an office half an hour away and be there till past the kids' bedtime.
Are you
and things
still
like
working all the way up to post-COVID? Did they bring you back into an office then?
Yeah.
That must be really hard. Like I can't. I've not worked in an office since COVID, and then I've had my kids. I didn't have kids at that point, and obviously I have stepkids, and then my own daughter. Could not imagine leaving her every day and going to. I just couldn't imagine it. Like, that must have been tough, and really, really, you appreciate in year one. I think that's the time you really appreciate those things because you're like they're new and they're and you. I don't know. I always felt like early on, even sometimes now, like someone should be telling me what to do here. Like, I should have a boss going, mate, you're taking a piss here, or like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you've always had that figure looking it over you, and so you're like, can I really get away with that? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course I can. So 112 grand, like, how did you feel at the end of that year at that number?
Do you know what? I was happy. Like, I wasn't ecstatic, but actually I had clients, I had progress. Like, part of being in recruitment, you see all these other people smashing it and you're like, what am I doing wrong? But in the same respect, like, I could see there was green shoots. So I knew that there was clients that were ultimately going to be coming back to me as well on top of that. And doing 112 grand, I kind of demonstrated to myself that, yeah, I can start to see some green shoots here.
Yeah. And how was it a steady throughout the year, or was it leveraged towards the back end?
Yeah, backloaded.
Yeah. So the momentum's building. What were your working hours like? What are your working hours like with 3 kids from home in the US? Like, how do you manage that every day?
I mean, last year, so I had a good year. Last year, I probably worked 25 hours a week, which was ace. But typically, I'm starting at 12:1. I'll work through to 6, do dinner, bath, and bed, hour and a half, and then if there's more to do, calls booked, I'll maybe work through until 9-10, and then a shorter day on a Friday.
Yeah. So how do you find time with your wife in that?
Well,
is that the hardest bit?
Yeah, which is part of the reason for a shorter day on a Friday, and we have the weekends. And as of December, she's come on to join me and support massively at Candid. But yeah, that's something that's been a work in progress for the last 6 years.
Because again, how old are your kids again? 6, 4,
Uh,
and 1 or something.
Nearly 7, 5, and 2.
That's it, 7, 5, 2. I know it was close. So mine are obviously 12, 11, and 2. But for me, it's like it's carnage until they go to bed, and the older two don't settle really now. They're not in their rooms properly till about 9 o'clock. So we have that 1 hour where I'm pretty much brain dead at 10. Like she's pretty similar as well. So, but I'm up at 5:30, 5:45 every day. I'm in the gym at 6. I'm back in at 7:30. I've already done some work. Like I'm very engaged. I'm like buzzing engaged in the morning, and then by the end of it, I'm like an iPhone that's just flagging on red by like 7 o'clock. So how do you balance that? Like the seeing of like the kid, putting the energy into kids, your wife, but then being ready for work, and like, well, how do you work that out?
Yeah, so I mean, it works really well now. In particular, the girls are at school from 8:30, 9, so I'll drop them off, have some time with my wife and Zach. Like 2 days a week, I have them in the mornings now. The rest, I'll either have time for myself, like I cycle, so get on the bike, or otherwise I'll start work early and then finish work early.
Right, but then if you're getting back on, logging back on at 7:30 till 9.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a difficult one? How do you find that? Because in the US it'll be mid-afternoon, won't it?
Yeah, but it's been 6 years now. Like it works.
It doesn't sound like you're doing that much work in the evenings though, to be running such a successful US practice. How are you basically just only available in their morning? Is that kind of how you look at it?
I use the equivalent of Calendly pretty effectively and block out hours. And yeah, I think if you run that well and if you really need to make time, then you make time. Then you can work most of the hours that you'd like to. I know people that do it very successfully, working UK hours completely.
So how do you block your time then, work-wise? Talk us through like the segments in the week that you put to different things.
I spend most of my time resourcing. If I'm honest, at the moment, it's an area of the business that I want to grow pretty quickly. But yeah, most of my time is sourcing. Almost all of my business is inbound now, and that's largely down to LinkedIn. So I will spend some time each week on a Monday morning, 2 hours, looking at content, looking at industry white papers I find really useful for developing that content. I'll get that scheduled. And then the rest of the week is I'd say 80% resourcing. The remainder is aside for clients.
Right. And so we work with you at Vantage, didn't we? So you learned our LinkedIn processes there, and that had a big impact on you, as you told me. And you've just joined the boardroom, right? So you're spending 30 grand a year with us in year 2 to build a proper like engine. What I guess, why would you take that step? Why are you thinking like strategically about building a brand that has serious demand in the market? At such an early stage. What's your mindset around that?
So the main thing for me is last year, just off the work that I was doing myself, pretty much all of my new business came from inbound, and that was off LinkedIn content. And that's from what I learned from you guys. So ultimately, if I can leverage that further, if I can leverage your knowledge and the team, then it's a worthwhile investment. That was the basis.
It's as simple as that. You've seen enough from the first training that you want to go more. What were your numbers in year 2?
So year 2, I hit 500K.
The numbers we've done big numbers at Hoxo at times, but I've never done it as so like lean. Like it's just incredibly lean. So you must look at your bottom line and be like, it's like all of it. I don't know. I just think that I'd just stare at my zero or my P&L if I was in your seat and be like,
yeah,
God, look at that. Like, what percentage have you worked out? What percentage of profit you've got in your business?
No, honestly, I haven't. Like, the money comes in, and I'm like, that's ace. What do I do with it?
So 100K in the first year, 500 in the second year, all your business is inbound. When you say inbound, like, what does that actually translate into? What does it look like? Are you getting emails? You getting emails? You getting people calling you? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I had my first ever inbound lead via my website, which has literally never happened. But otherwise, yeah, LinkedIn, direct messages, that's been the main source. Is like, hey, John, I've seen your content. Can you do this? I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
If you're going to hire someone offshore, make sure you pick the right partner. Today's sponsor, Remote Recruitment, are my partner of choice. And the reason is they put every single South African hire through a 15-point vetting system. They run a bespoke trial built with you so you see what they're like before they even enter your business. They do the final interview after proof of performance. And there's a free 12-month replacement if they're not right. So there's no like seeing random CVs and loads of interviews. It's just a really seamless process that is stringent, it's organized, and it works. And if they don't work out, look, they'll replace it really, really quick. So you don't need to worry about national insurance, NI, setting up companies. They manage the whole piece without you worrying. Now, if you're a RAG listener, you get 5% off your first hire. You get a free remote hiring roadmap, and they've got an ROI calculator that you can look at back office and business development roles and see the impact they can have on your business. If you'd like to access this amazing offer, go to www.remoterecruitment.co.uk/RAG.
How big is the market that you're operating in? Like, how would you quantify industrial automation?
It's big. I couldn't give you any figures off the top of my head, but essentially, it's where manufacturing is moving. Like that, we're moving away from someone putting something on a shelf or moving something to a robot doing it, or a conveyor doing it, or a pump and a valve doing it, and it's only moving in that direction. Like there was last year the issues with the US dock workers because ultimately they were bringing in technology to replace them, and I see that happening everywhere, and it's only going to continue. So yeah, industrial automation it's grown massively over the 12 years that I've been doing it, and I can't see it stopping.
It's a bit like the physical AI, isn't it? Like think about AI's attacking white collar jobs. And the
Yeah.
physical, the mental side of admin and it's going to go into the agentic side will be processing information and connecting the dots. You're talking about the more physical blue collar jobs here that you're, people moving stuff around and the labor side that's getting automated. But it doesn't seem like a sector that, I mean, I'm just being transparent from where I'm sitting. It's not a sector that you hear that much about. Like it doesn't sound overly sexy on the industrial automation, but AI is the sexy one everyone wants to be a part of. But it's like the cousin to AI that's fucking mega, and it's been going for a while. How competitive is it in from a recruitment perspective? Do you feel like you're surrounded by agencies in the US that are quality that you compete with?
Yeah, I mean it's certainly busier than it was in 2020, but it's not saturated. There are some very good operators in the area for sure, but it's not crazy, no.
All right, so we're sat here now. You've gone 112, whatever, 500k. You've done over 350 in Q1. So if you're on track to break $1 million, $1.2 this year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you put that down to? Because that's a huge growth. Like 1 to 5 is big, but 5 to 1.2 would be enormous. And I mean, you've not done it yet, but we're just talking on the track, like the trajectory you're on. What do you honestly put that down to? Because people are listening on, how the fuck is he doing it?
Some really solid relationships. I mean, I feel I'm fairly well known for what I do and the quality versus quantity approach. But yeah, people genuinely trust me in the delivery of very niche technical roles, and I do it well. And so they come back to me and they refer me, and it goes from there.
How many roles are you working on at one time?
I've had 8 in the last 24 hours. Genuinely good roles. Like I need a source.
So the demand is there. The demand is there. And it is crazy. There's some people out there in the industry who just can't get work on, and then there's people like you that have got too much work on, and it is nuts. There'll be people listening to this thinking, I should probably go and approach John, work with John. I hope they do if they're good. What what you said you wanted to grow, right? What does that
Hmm.
mean to you? Because growth means different things to different people. I think you probably know what my vision is for the growth of the modern agency. But what does it look like
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah, I think that's partly why we work together. Like I want to do 6 to 10 people, very well supported by AI and the ability to leverage. But more so than everything, it's that human in the loop. It's not AI everything. It's the ability to leverage technology with people that care, who understand, who can demonstrate that human touch to clients, candidates. Because I don't think we're going to go fully down the AI route in recruitment. It's still very much a human industry, and so yeah, I see 6 to 10 people over the next 2 to 3 years who really want to make an impact on an industry that actually it touches pretty much everyone's lives. Like Amazon,
Yeah,
Amazon is mostly industrial automation driven. Like we touch it every day, we just don't see it.
100%. And what does that profile of individual? If you're gonna go from you to 6 to 10, have you
Mhm.
mapped out what the perfect person looks like that's going to join you?
For me, it's a parent, someone that like has been in the space for a little while, that wants the flexibility, someone that actually is a bit sick of the agency shenanigans and doesn't want lunch club and legends and all that sort of stuff, but wants the freedom and autonomy to do a good job, do it right, and also like earn in the industry they know and love.
So they have to come from industrial automation, would you say, for
No,
you to?
no,
No.
no,
What
no.
what would
I
be the
I
most
think
logical? Does it matter, or is there a logic? Is there any logical sectors that you would want someone from?
white collar engineering would be great, but like STEM based, it's like anything where it's niche recruitment focused. I think you can pick up automation within 2 to 3 weeks to a reasonable degree. It's just that understanding around like how to source a niche candidate.
Yeah. And have you mapped all that out for people as well? So even though they're going to come in with experience, have you got the candid way essentially of how you work?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's the most important thing now. And I don't know about you, but that's one of the biggest things that AI has given me is the ability to document what I'm
Hmm.
doing. Like before AI, I had all the intentions of sitting down and writing out process maps and shit, but I didn't do it because I was a sales guy who would rather get on the phone and meet someone. And
Yeah.
we did enough to get by, and I always heard like the best businesses are the ones where everything in their head is written down. But now it's like
Hmm.
that can just be done while you're cooking. Like you can literally, you could be cooking a meal for your kids, and you could be talking to your phone, and or you can upload a document of a transcript and say, turn this into a. There's so much you can do now. There's no excuse, in my opinion, to bring someone in and not be able to give them quality training.
Hmm.
Like, there's no excuse because you can listen to every call they've ever had. You can record it. You can put it into AI. You can get as long as you prompt it properly, you can give it. You can work out where things are going right, where things are going wrong. Like you can pinpoint training needs. Everyone says like sitting in an office with people and the osmosis and stuff. I get that, but you're not really fucking listening to someone properly when you're on the phone next to them. You're not. You're
Hmm.
doing your thing and you might pick up the odd thing, but actually if you're sitting and listening word for word to what someone's saying and identifying it and saying, look, this is where you're going wrong and here's the recommendations, and I'm going to use what you're saying, I'm going to evaluate your scripts, and I'm going to change. I think as long as you've got the attention to detail and you're focused, you can make some huge changes to people's processes. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
completely agree. Like, I think the ability to utilize ATR and AI for training development is huge. I took it to build out 13 training presentations, and I've moved that into an app for onboarding and things like that. Like, we can do things that we could not do 2 years ago, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I love it. What? Be honest with me, like, what's the reality of being a British recruiter in America? Is there anything that people don't tell? Like, it is seen as the land of opportunity in this perfect world of recruitment. But what are
Mhm.
the sort of hidden things that people don't know about?
I remember 5 years ago, I would fairly regularly say, "Hey, hey, John, you're not even in this country. How can you find the candidates?" And I don't think that's a thing now. Like my typical spiel is like, "Yeah, I'm a British recruiter. I'm based in the UK, but I've been doing it for 6 years, and literally no one bats an eyelid anymore." I don't think that's a thing because we've kind of swarmed the place. There is the considerations like if you want to go out, or if you want to play football on a Wednesday evening, or like it does impact that social life Monday to Friday, particularly if you're sat at home working in your home office. Like that's something that really does need to be thought about. You can work around it. I go to rugby training on a Thursday night, but yeah, it's a lifestyle adjustment. That being said, I get my evenings and my mornings now. You just have to kind of make that switch, and when you do, I think it's well worth it.
So the time zone, the accent, the fact you're not, because I don't know, a lot of people pretend they're in America and they're not. The amount of times I jump on a call with someone and they're saying they're in Charlotte or New York or whatever, and I'll be like, "Oh, right," and then they're like, "Oh no, I'm in Liverpool," or I'm like, "Oh, right," because their LinkedIn says it. So they've got this like boots on the ground perception they're desperate to give across, and you're not. I mean, you're pretty open. Like you've got a business registered there, and you do spend time there, but it's not that important.
Yeah, it's valid. I think my LinkedIn does say I'm in Charlotte, but right. when I'm on the phone, I think it's pretty obvious I'm a Brit in the UK, and no one bats an eyelid.
Yeah, fair. What about visiting customers face to face? Like, is that something? I know you were out there not long ago in that snowstorm and stuff. Because I think seeing like the factories and the automation, there must be something in seeing where these guys actually do what they do, or maybe I'm assuming it's an important part. Like, is that something you enjoy doing?
Massive. I love it, and I do think that's really important for the UK, the US market. Like pressing the flesh, and more so than actually seeing the facilities, it's actually sitting for lunch, dinner, coffee. That's had a huge impact on my US journey, and particularly now. My youngest is older. I'm going to be out there once a quarter and spending more time doing that because it does make a difference. And also, yeah, it's dead cool seeing a car being made and like arc robots welding and stuff like that. Like it's cool.
So how would you plan a week? Like, is it a week? Like how long would you go for? Like, what's the quarterly trip look like?
Yeah, so I'll fly out on a Sunday, Monday to Thursday meetings. Last time I went out, I did 1,500 miles in 5 days. Like these companies, they're often in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you got to drive to their headquarters and stuff.
Yeah, you got to drive, and then fly back out Friday afternoon. More often than not, try and catch like a hockey game or NFL or something cultural whilst I'm out there. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's good.
And are your clients all over the States, like literally everywhere?
No, mostly focused around North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, some in Boston, New England. Kind of started to spread a little bit as people with headquarters in that location are kind of asking for other manufacturing facilities, etc. But otherwise, I'm mostly.
Why that area? Is it because of where your sisters were, or is it because it's a manufacturing hub?
Yeah, my sister's in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I kind of leverage her house, a base of operations, and go from there.
So, right, could you do it anywhere though? Could you set up a Texas-based business and there'd be enough work there? Like it's like every state's got its own infrastructure in this space.
Yeah, there's definitely hubs, but yeah, pretty much everywhere has. There's the considerations around like time zones and things like that. Like Texas is 6 hours versus 5, which doesn't feel like a lot, but it does make a difference. But otherwise, yeah.
Carolina's 5.
Yeah,
where you are, yeah. So, in terms of the model, you've talked about 6 to 10 people. You've talked about, lean AI. I mean, I know this because we've been speaking about it. It's part of what we do. But what for someone who's listening, they might, I'm thinking, what would they want to know? Like, what I think the first question I would ask is, what would you do in that model? Like, where does your role evolve? How do you see? Are you just one of the billers? Like, what do you become if there's 6 to 10 people that are all high quality, adding value, caring about the industry? Like, where do you sit?
Yeah, so for me, it's about being the face. Like I'm starting to get a good traction on LinkedIn and building that and being able to pass off client relationships. So for me, I want to be the lead on the business development, even if it's supplying warmer relationships, warmer leads, not necessarily doing taking away from the 360 nature that some people may have, but yeah, it's that influence led, being the face of things and bringing the goods home.
What's the difference, would you say, from you've got a long time in recruitment, you've done the old school cold calling. I'm sure
Mm.
you've broke doors down like who don't know who the hell you are. How different is it, and what is the difference when someone comes to you? You know, when someone already has an understanding of you, but only from an external perception of watching you.
The easiest thing for me is negotiation. Like fees are not negotiated at that point, because there's a demonstration of credibility, and I will set out what my percentages are and what the standards are and what my SLAs are, and I literally haven't had a question on that in 18 months. So that's the biggest thing. But yeah,
Have you tried
it's
putting them up?
yeah, it's really valid, maybe.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
that's a valid point, though, isn't it? Like, if you got that much demand, you got 8 roles called in yesterday. You could technically you can increase your prices. Like, you could say, well, I want to
mhm,
work on less roles because I want to do better work, but it's going to cost more money. Like, people
yeah,
probably would pay it
mhm, yeah,
if it's
valid.
mission critical. But the fact there's no negotiation is because there's already a buy into you. There's already this guy knows his stuff. Like, they're not asking you to necessarily sell yourself to them
Yeah,
at that point.
mhm,
I've had someone recently reach out to me though and then want me to sell myself, and it's a weird feeling because I'm the same. Like, people know me all over the world. You know, they don't always meet me; it's my team. But at the end of the day, they're coming to if they're coming to us because they want to find out about our services, it's serious. I've had people. Only last week I had a guy come in and he's like, "Tell me, why should I work with you?" And I'm like, "You came to me, mate. Like, you reached out. It's not the other way around. I didn't chase you. I didn't phone you up. Like, you came to me. Like, why do you want it?" It was. I was actually a bit shocked, and it didn't. I don't think it went very well either. But that's probably my performance. But again. I always say to people, it's hard to explain it. They don't get. Some just
mhm,
don't get it. Don't believe in it. And it's like, I had a call this morning in Australia, and the guy's like, "Yeah, but I can't." I can't see myself putting the time in to producing the content and doing the follow-ups and the process that I taught you that we teach. It's quite straightforward, but it's like when I could just be on the phone for 2 hours. Like, I can't
mhm.
get my head around why I would choose that over that. It's like, I know I can get hold of those people. I know people. I can make stuff happen. Probably 2 hours I can pull a job every day. It's like, so why would I bother? So how would you answer that question? Because I've got my way, but what would you say?
Do you know what? There's no leverage in that for me. Like there is, you maybe can call 50 people in a day on LinkedIn. I've got 11,000 connections. I can be seen by 30,000 people. I can't leverage that on the phone, not without an AI dialer, which is just awful business.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, the future is leverage. The future is being able to do more with less. And I'm a contract recruiter at heart. I'm really not scared of the phone. I love that as a methodology, and I think it's really important to be able to engage with people through voice and Teams and things like that. But the leverage isn't there, and LinkedIn, I think, is a huge opportunity for people to get in front of the right people.
That's a point. I mean, leverage is a great word to use, but it really is like effort-led
Mm,
recruitment. Really, it's pure effort. It's pure grunt. But the bit that I said to the guy today, which was, and I think I said it to you, is like, if you've come from a world where you can pick up the phone and you're strong in that, and you because you'll always only make money in these meetings. You don't make money on LinkedIn. You make money because LinkedIn gets you to a meeting, right?
yeah.
So if you've got the skills to make, this guy was doing like $1.5 million a year in Australia. It's strong, like 750K English. Great biller. but he's still banging the phone for 2 hours a day, every single day. And I'm like, you know, you've been in the game for 10 years. Do you still want to do that? Firstly, do you want to do it? If you do, crack on. But I get the sense he doesn't, which is why he's on the call. And then, you know, it's like you can't. There is no leverage to that. Like it doesn't go anywhere. Like it's one day, put all that effort in. You take a holiday, or your kids are sick, and nothing happens. Like fucking nothing. And I was like, and then when I said that to him, and he's like, I've got your point. I've had about 300,000 eyeballs this week on LinkedIn. Now, I've been in meetings and I've done a lot of work at the end of March, but I mean, I've not had to think about that. It's just been running in the background. Like it's just, I wish more people understood it. And this industry is just full of people who transactionally think, if I do that, I have to have an output today, which is why they'll rather do the 2 hours and get the one output and feel good about themselves than trade it in for a strategy that actually gives them longevity and sustainability and puts them in a position like you, where you're doing 300K in a quarter by yourself, you know, internationally, and it's all coming to you. I mean, it's great. So John, how do you see your long-term life plan? We've spoke a bit about this, but you're a young guy, young family, earning a lot of money. You're an entrepreneur. What do you want long-term? What are you doing it for?
I want to be doing this because I want to, not because I have to. And that's why I left the agency. Like I could never see myself being at the grindstone at like 50 just because I needed to keep a roof over my head, roof over the family's head, and food on the table. Like I can see Candid Talent becoming a vehicle that means that I can do this just because I love engaging with people in the industry, not because it's keeping us all fed and watered and happy and healthy. And that's really where I want to take it. Like you and I have talked about finances and that as a vehicle outside of Candid. And I think it can lead to that. But I genuinely love this industry. I fell into recruitment. Everyone does. But I really like the people that I talk to day to day and the impact that they have. And I want to keep doing that. And being financially secure is kind of the ability to do that. So yeah, that's kind of the long term for me.
And is it about stretching your lifestyle, changing how you live?
Yeah. I mean, we've been really fortunate through this. We've renovated an 1800s farmhouse and spent way too much money doing that. So rebuilding the finances, being able to put the kids through everything that they could want and that lifestyle that I genuinely had growing up. I know my wife did too. That's what it's about for me now.
So when you say the kids would want, what does that mean to you then? So what does that look like?
The holidays, like being able to support a good education, which we're really fortunate in where we live, and they have that ability. Experiences more than anything. Like we're only going to be a family unit for another 20 odd years, maybe, if we're lucky, like together. So it's that experiences. It's South Africa. It's the safaris. It's the skiing. It's just being able to go out to the fields and grow some veg together, and actually being here and being present for it, which I don't think I would have had if I was commuting for an hour and a half a day.
Do you see the business always being the remote style it is now? You still being close to home?
For sure. Yeah. No interest in doing that.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I fucking love the space in between meetings on my own. Because like in an office, I used to get peppered. Like every time you walk through an office, someone asks you a question, especially if you're good at your job or you're a leader or if you're the owner. I mean, fucking, that was a nightmare when I owned a business in London. Whereas now the only thing is now my little girl, 2 years old, like every time I walk in, daddy, like she wants me to pick her up and she's like, she wants to come in my office. But I don't think I could not handle it's overstimulation. It's overstimulation. I go to London for the day and I'm like, I want to get out. Like I'm happy to go home because the stimulation of noises and colors and foods and people and talking. I don't think I need it because I'm on Zoom for like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, every day. I'm getting that interaction with people. I'm talking to people. I'm never just sat for a full day writing things down. So I don't know. Does it feel similar for you? Is there anything different there?
Yeah, for sure. Like I take the dogs for a walk in the field, like in between calls. It's just nice not having to. I love people. I love being around people, but I'm so used to, as you said, like getting packed and just having to deal with stuff that I no longer have to. And I know that'll come and growing a team, but I want to be in my own environment. I don't think there is any need for expensive office overheads other than, as you say, that there's that element of osmosis, but I think we can overcome that in the new technologies that are coming through. So yeah, I think remote as a team is absolutely the way forward.
So I'm just summarizing this for people. 2 years in, best part of 600 and something K in the first two. You've done basically $1 million in just over $2 million in just over 2 years, right? Because you're 2 years and 2 months in and you've done $1 million. From home, sounds like you've got a good balance. Great market with longevity. You've not really scratched the surface if you're only just touching Carolina. Like the whole of the US is at your oyster if you really want. Profit margins are high. Family's young and healthy. You've got goals to be with them. I've interviewed people on the show, and Matt Tyson won't mind me mentioning him. He's one of my favorite people. He's also in the boardroom with me, but he lost his relationship because he put everything into a 15-year plan to exit a business and thought that by the time he exited, he could spend time with his wife. But by the time he exited, his wife was like, "Well, I'm done anyway." And then it went, and then he had to leave his family home and his kids, and I'm like, I think we see the world almost identically. Like I'm like, yeah. This is my most important job, is being there for them. But this business funnels that and supports that. And I don't know. I feel like it's like a cheat code a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like if you can do like, what more do you want if you're a young founder with a young family? What more do you want than a business you enjoy that's making profit, but you spend it with the people that matter the most? Like that. That's it. And you're living it, mate. You're absolutely living it. And it's only took 2 years. It's not that long in the reality of But I do think there's a few things that you've done really well. Is you've picked a really smart market and you've picked a really smart location with smart fees. Like you've picked you're in the right boat. There's some people that are working as hard, or if not harder, but they're just not in the right boat. They're not in the right market, and it's too competitive. It's too saturated. The fees are crap. Like you might get inundated with people. How do I get in? But I just want to say, well done, mate. Like I'm really impressed. Like I think, like I say, we see the things the same way. We live in a similar life, but I've been doing this nearly 10 years to get to where I am, and you've done it in 2. So kudos to you.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything that, if someone was listening and was thinking, I want to emulate this, is there any advice you just got that we've not touched on? Is there anything that maybe they've got to work out before they go and achieve this?
I'd go so much harder earlier on the LinkedIn content, and I spent a lot of time doing like recruiter-led content, like stuff that I found interesting, or maybe it would resonate with others in my space, like candidates, write your CVs better, like stuff like that. But actually, the flip to looking at what resonates with my core, the people that are going to hire, what resonates with the people in that space, what are their problems, that's been a huge change. And that's come over the last probably 6 months, and then heavier since I've been working with you. But I would have made that flip a lot sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going beyond recruitment, really, isn't it? It's going beyond it.
For sure.
Like I did a post yesterday about, how the exec search firms are growing whilst the largest recruitment agencies are shrinking, 80% down on average, the top 10. And it's because of that. It's because the biggest firms, the generalist firms, are seen as CV senders and job fillers. And that's where they live. That's where they operate. Now, they have to because of the scale they're at. But the dangerous is when small businesses act like that. And you can't compete. Like you haven't got the economy of scale. So you've got to go got to go above it. You got to almost act like an exec search firm. You got to try. And if you don't know how, you got to reach out to people and learn, because it's not that difficult to get into the minds of your customers and understand what they're really thinking about and worrying about and challenges and ambitions and talk to it. Jon, thanks for being so open. Thanks for being so candid. You always are. So calm, so measured, unflappable is the word I would use. I think that's the way I'd describe you. It'd be interesting to see you wobble if the stress hit. But, mate, I want to get you back on in the future. I want to see how this progresses. Obviously, I'm working with you, I'll know, but I want to reveal that to the market. If people do want to pick your brains on anything to do with the US or the market or your lifestyle, the way you plan your day, that kind of stuff, are you okay if they reach out to you on LinkedIn? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Awesome, mate. And I'll I wish you the best of luck. We'll definitely get you on again. Let's aim for this time next year and see how you progress in year 3.
Mega, sounds good.
Right, that's done. That was bang on 57 minutes. Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the RAG podcast. If you haven't already, please do subscribe wherever you listen to this show. As the more subscribers we get, the more people will listen and the more recruitment owners we can help. As a recruitment founder, you must know that things are changing. AI is everywhere. Cold outreach is getting harder and job boards, well, they're not what they used to be. But personally, despite the negativity, I believe the future is the greatest opportunity of our lifetime in recruitment, because for the first time ever, a founder with 5 recruiters with a clear niche and the right systems can build the kind of influence, reach, and profitability that used to take 500 recruiters and a global office network. The agencies that are winning right now aren't necessarily the biggest, but they are the most visible, the most trusted, and the ones building inbound demand. At Hoxo, we're working with clients who are running multiple 6 and 7 figures in net profit, outperforming the negative noise and headlines. So, to explain what these guys are doing, I've created a brand new free masterclass video for RAG listeners. In this video, it's less than 10 minutes long. I'm going to show you what these businesses are doing differently from the rest. So the link's in the description. Fill in the form, watch the video, and see exactly how this system that these clients are using could work for your agency. Good luck.